Alright, I've at least got the fundamentals of the outline laid out, so we'll see how far that takes us. I have put refined storage conduits all along here from the upstairs all the way into the power generation room and the machine processing room. So I want to work on doing something with that. So the first thing I want to look into is I would like to be able to dump pulverized coal into this magma crucible. So what we need are some filters. So I first need to teach the system how to create filters because we'll be making several of these. So we'll start out with some item filters. So let's look into that. Are you able to make item filters? No, I don't see any. So let's go ahead and make a pattern for those guys. And we need to get a pattern because I don't have anything. There we go. Get me a pattern. And then we will make a pattern for that. And we're coming really close on space here. We're going to have to upgrade this guy really soon. But, you know, we're close. We're close. So, I'd like to get... I think we're going to need at least 4, probably more than 4. But we'll go ahead and start crafting the 4. And then we'll go down there and see what we can get with that. So, for starters, I said I wanted to be able to pull out... Oh, you know, I never... put this guy back up. Better fix that real quick before I run out of energy and whatnot. Okay, yeah. So I want to be able to get those basic item filters. So we want to be able to put the pulverized coal into this magma crucible. So let's go ahead and look into that. So we can dump things right from RS into machines with Ender.io item filters and Ender.io conduits, which is pretty cool. So let's go ahead and look into that. I want to be able to dump in pulverized coal, and we are going to match meta, I think. Is that working? Doesn't appear to be working. Okay, the problem is you are not an input. Okay, so there we go. We will go ahead. Okay, so now he's dumping right into this guy. So he will have all of the pulverized coal from the system, which, you know, we'll have to do more work on to fix, but we'll take care of that in a minute. So, other thing I want to take care of is this tank. I don't want him storing any more of that fluid right now. We will look into that later. Okay, so this is taken care of. He will get pulverized coal, turn it into liquefied coal, and he will dump it in here. Now, sometimes this machine gets gummed up because he produces tar as a byproduct. If this slot's full, he can't do anything. There's a couple ways to fix that, but I don't want to void this. I want to use this tar. So I want to export it into the system. So let's be able to do that. So we're going to set the bottom guy as an output, and then we are going to go to our ME conduits, and we are going to have an import, and we will import tar. And now the tar will go into the system. Perfect. Alright, and the same thing over here. We've got sulfur in there, and I want to export that into the system. So, yeah, all we have to do is get an import filter. Looks like we don't even need to filter it. That's right. If we don't care what goes in there, we don't need to filter it. Okay, so that's fine, and that's fine. And so the sulfur and the tar will get dumped in the system, and that will take care of those things. Now I also want to put this refined fuel in the system, but we're not quite there yet because our system can't handle liquids. That's okay, we'll get there in a minute. This is a good start. We could start dumping coal into the pulverizer, but I don't want to do that just yet. Let's hold off on that. So next is the things I might want to put out in here. Like I did start making red coal, and it would be nice to be able to make red coal and then dump that into this guy. So let's go ahead and make that happen. So we need to look into the connector. We want to export from the system, and we want to export red coal. So if there was any red coal, which I don't think there is right now, we would be able to do that. Where's my wireless guy? Let's go ahead and dump the red coal in there. And there we go. He's going to get more red coal. We don't know how to make red coal just yet, but once we do, we will be able to make red coal and then put it in here automatically. Alright, so that tar we got, we're going to use that in the steam dynamo to make some power. I also put that fuel catalyzer augment back in there. I think it gives like a 15% boost in efficiency, 15 or 20, something like that. Not a lot, but, you know, I don't know, why not? But I may replace him with the auxiliary transmission coil and get more power, you know, per second. So, I don't know. We'll see. For now, I'm going to leave it like this. So let's get more of those basic item filters. At least one more is what we're going to need right now. And I want to export the tar into this guy. So let's go ahead and click the conduit connector. You can't bring things in through the transmission coil unless you have an upgrade to allow that. And I don't want to waste an upgrade slot on that. So I'm going to get in down there. So I'm going to just move the conduits down here where they can accept inputs. So let's go ahead, and I want to import. No, that's not right. I want to export. I want to export all the tar. And if there's tar in the system, which I know that there is, it will go right in here, and it will be cooked up. So now all of our tar will go in there. Cool. So we're making tar as a byproduct of our refining process. And then after we get the tar, it will come in here and be hooked up by our steam dynamo for an additional 60 RF per tick. Not a lot, but you know, it's free power, so why not? Okay, so the next thing we need to do is figure out some way of getting liquids into the system. So to do that, we're going to need some kind of liquid storage. And I typically use the block storage for this rather than the disk storage. Why? I don't know. Just seems like a better choice to me. You can keep one block for each kind of fluid, and I kind of like that. It lets you decide how much of a fluid you want in your system. So we're going to make a 64K storage block. So let's go ahead and make some more patterns. Let's see if I can make 5. Yep, we can make 5. Okay. So once we get this, we'll teach it how to make a 64K storage block. Let's put those in there. And we want the fluid storage block. We want this guy. So here's your pattern. You need a storage part, machine casing, quartz iron. You know how to make those. This will already have. Okay, we want to be able to make that. Okay, that all looks correct. Do you know how to make buckets? I bet you don't. No, you do. I did teach you that. Okay, then I think that should be everything you need to make one of those fluid storage parts. So let's go ahead and make one of those guys. Okay, got everything he needs to make that. Cool, so there we go. Fluid storage. Let's go ahead and scan that guy for Thaumcraft. Alright, so what I want to do with him is I want to filter him for a specific kind of liquid. To do that, we're going to need a bucket of that fluid. So let's go ahead and get a bucket of refined fuel. Should have already done that, but whatever. Let's see here. We'll take you from there. In fact, let's go ahead and dump a bucket in there too. Get that going again, because we are really low on power. Okay, there we go. We are net positive again at least, so that's good. And now I need to filter him. So one of the big problems with RS is that there's no way to stop everything and filter something with this block. And when you pick the block up, it loses its filter list. So what I want to do is I don't want to ignore the signal anymore. I want to say only work without a redstone signal. So if I flip a lever on, or maybe have something I'm standing in front of, I will be able to set my blocks, or set my filters. So I am going to use a lever. You know what? I'm just going to use this lever, and that way if I ever forget and turn him on, or forget to turn him on, he'll be fine where he is. So I'm going to turn the whole system off, and then I'm going to break that block, and then I want to filter you, and that is going to be a whitelist. You can only accept refined fuel. So now we have a place to put refined fuel, and no other kinds of liquid can be in there. Let's go ahead and make it daytime so we can get some extra power. And now we have to work on importing fuel. So it looks like Ender.io can do that as well. So let's get some of those kind of things. We need the fluid filters, basic fluid filters, I think they're called. Yeah, we need some of these guys. So, okay. There we go, a basic fluid filter. And hopefully that's all we need, because we have no more pattern storage. Alright, so if I we're going to need 2 of these guys. There we go. So now we have 2 of these guys. And we'll go ahead and we're going to go down. Not here though. Where am I going? I'm going down to this basement. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to be able to import fluid that is from this guy. So step number 1 is we want, okay, they're both in output mode there. That's good. That's what I want to see. And then let's see here. Oh, this could be a problem, because he has 2 kinds of things to export. Okay, we're going to have to go behind these walls, because we're going to have to come up here to get this, because we need another side to be able to import from. So okay, I think I want you to be a yellow, and out the back is going to be an orange. Is that right? Let me take that guy off real quick. Yeah, that's a red output, and that's a yellow output. Yeah, that looks right. So let's go over here, and now we're going to import basic fluids, and we shouldn't need a whitelist because it's the only thing that can go in there. I don't see any more fluid in there, so let's see if it's possible that it went into the system. I believe that's where it went. I sure hope so. I don't know where else it would go. Yes, we now have 10.2 buckets of refined fuel in here. Cool. So that's a good start. So the next step is to export that fuel into this guy. And we should be able to do that with this one. So we're going to export, and we need to export a specific fluid, refined fuel. And now he is full of refined fuel and will always be as long as we have, you know, some refined fuel. So that's pretty close to fully automated. But the next step is to say, if you have, you know, X amount of fluid in the system, you don't need any more. So let's not produce any more. So the first thing I want to do is I want to disable this exporter for just a minute. And I want to get this drum, and, you know, breaking it with a hand is going to take quite a while, so I'll probably, you know, get a drill. Alright. So now I want to go over to the system, and we're going to make a fluid interface. So let's look for one of those guys. No, that's not what I want. Is it a fluid grid? That's what I want. Alright, so we need a bucket and an advanced processor. Well, we can make a bucket, and it probably needs a grid. So let's see, let's get rid of that. Let's add you to the list. Need to add you to the list. Okay, machine casing. The refined storage kind. And we need a couple of cores. Destruction core and a construction core. Alright. There we go. A grid. Have we scanned grids? Yeah, we scanned grids. There we go. A fluid grid. So let's see here. Let's put him right over here. And this is going to allow me to see what's in the system. And I can dump things in the system too. So I want to take that bucket I've got. And I can just dump things in here. Now there are, of course, other ways of doing this. You can make an importer, and that would work too. Because there's so little fluid, I'm going to go ahead and do this real quick, because there's only like 3 buckets left, and then I will dump the rest of this guy into the combustion dynamo. So let's take him downstairs, and I think we're going to need a conduit to drain the fluid out of him. He's not like the other kind of tank where you can just tell it, just export stuff. Okay, so let's go over here. So how much fuel do you have? Lots. That's not what I want to see. You still have lots. I feel like maybe you lie to me about being disabled. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what happens. So let's go ahead and put the drum over here, and then we'll put the conduits right here, and then you're going to be an extract, always active. And if I were to get a bucket, the drum is empty, so it must all be in this cable right now, which is fine. Let's go put this this bucket back into the system, and then we can empty out another bucket. And now what I should see is this guy is empty. Yeah, nothing else in here. And that's what I want to see. So let me go ahead and get my Yeta wrench. And then we'll get the drill and break that guy. And now we will put your exporter back on. Yeah, I remember there being a bug where even if you tell it that it's not enabled, it still doesn't. So I really should report that to Ender.io. I keep meaning to do that. Okay, So there we go. He's got all of his fuel, and we know where we're going to put the fuel and store the fuel. So what I want to do now is we want to find a way to only make fuel when we need it. So if there's enough fuel in the system, it would be good to go ahead and turn these guys off. We don't want them to just sit here processing stuff forever if we don't need to. So we wouldn't have to do this if we had enough power and we kept going through this. We can only import up to 64 buckets, and then these guys will back up. So that's kind of a natural barrier, and that might work out okay. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. I might leave it and see what happens, because that might be interesting to do, at least for a little while, and it's very much simpler. I don't know how much pulverized coal we have, so that's a thing too. But yeah, so I may want to look into limiting that. Right now, I guess I'm not going to. One thing I'll probably do is start exporting coal into this guy, and then we will put him on a high signal, and we will only have him run if we need more pulverized coal in the system. So actually, let's go ahead and work on that right now. Alright, that's a good wrapping up point for today's episode. Thanks for watching. This is a glimpse into the Thaumcraft room of the future. So hey, like and subscribe. You don't want to miss it. See you next time.